computer. Okay, let me start once again. Hello, welcome to the Image Builder Office Hours meeting. It's Monday, 17th of July. We do this every 2 weeks at this time. Image Builder is a sub-project of the SIG cluster Lifecycle umbrella in Kubernetes, and therefore we try to abide by their code of conduct, which basically boils down to let's not talk over each other and try to raise your hand in the meeting so that we don't. Although if it's just a few of us, it's probably not going to be an issue. And then, typically at the beginning of the meeting, we provide some time for new people to introduce themselves. I don't think that's applicable this time, but so let's just get on to the agenda. We released Image Builder 0117. That's sort of an arbitrary point, which seems to be we don't have a fixed release cadence right now. It's just when things have built up and it seems like there's useful things in this release. So this had a bunch of stuff, a lot of updates, a lot of bug fixes. Anyway, we can all read the list here. Got a few new contributors, which is always great. Anything else to say about that?
No, just hooray.
All right.
It's nice to see we're getting a fairly regular release cadence going here.
Yep, and we know how to do releases, and it all works.
Yes. It's always good.
Marcus, take it away with the flaky tests.
So a bit of context before I kick into this. So recently, I think about 3 weeks ago now, we moved some of our tests to the new community-owned EKS cluster from the community, Kubernetes community. I don't know if this is just circumstance or if it's related, but since the change, I've noticed an uptick in some flaky tests. So I've noticed some that I've had to manually rerun because there's been things like the process exited, it was killed or whatever, it was run out of resources or something like that. And then the other one I've seen is this one. I haven't seen this too much, so there's maybe not actually a big issue unless you've also seen it as well. But I've seen a few with rate limiting when calling out to GitHub to get the Packer stuff. Now, this could possibly also be because we are now using the Packer plugins that you get externally rather than them being the inbuilt ones in Packer. So there are now extra calls to GitHub that we have to do as part of this. So what I wanted to kind of say was, are other people seeing an increase in flaky tests, and has anyone yet had the time to investigate? Because I know I haven't much as of yet. And to this rate limiting, is it a case that we have like a single external IP on this cluster that's causing us to hit this, or is there anything else that we might be able to do to limit this? Because I'm not sure. Maybe you know actually, Matt, but I'm not sure how we would go about adding a secret to the cluster for use with the test to have an API token for GitHub.
Yeah. I have seen this before, but I haven't noticed it often, and there haven't been a lot of PRs, or maybe I haven't been paying attention that closely, but I haven't noticed that there's been an uptick in it. That doesn't mean there hasn't been.
It could well just be me kind of overestimating it because of the change.
I've also seen an almost identical error happen over in CapZ, and tried to dig into it there and thought about how to set a GitHub API token, but then it never happened again. So I've really seen it like once or twice over there, and so I didn't act on it. But it does. You could be right. We're probably downloading a couple more things effectively from GitHub now that we're doing the explicit provider installation stuff, and maybe that's enough to tip us over the unauthenticated limit.
I mean, I suppose it also depends on what else is running alongside us on that cluster, and if they have the same external IP address or not.
That's
Like
true.
if everything on that cluster is getting the same external IP address, I can imagine this is fairly easy to hit.
I really don't know how it's architected on
No,
that side, but
yeah.
that seems like a likely scenario, right? That multiple projects are probably look to GitHub like they're coming from the same machine, or
Yeah.
It should be as simple as setting an API token in the environment, though, right? If we could figure out how to do that, that ought to work around it.
Yes,
Is one way.
I would assume so. Yes, it's just I don't know how to go about getting secrets added to that cluster. So I guess if you don't know, I guess that's one for SIG testing to talk
I
with
don't
everyone.
know. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know actually.
But like if we're not seeing if you don't think that we're seeing an uptick in this kind of thing, I don't think it's a pressing thing that we should tackle right now. Maybe it's just one that we kind of check on during the next couple office hours and see if other people feel the same or not.
Sure. We put just like not clear yet whether this is an epidemic or isolated. Epidemic's an overloaded word. Maybe I should be careful there.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, I've not seen anything, but I'm not putting a large amount of PRs in at the moment. So yeah, it's not something I've noticed. Let's say I've not come across it myself yet, but I will keep an eye out for any future ones that I put in or anywhere else just to see if it comes up again.
Aside from the GitHub rate limit one, like I said, that one I've only seen I think a couple times. I've seen the what do we call it? OVA pull test need a few tries to get it running because of environment related issues that have caused it to fail. But I know we did have some of that in the past anyway. They haven't always been perfect, so maybe I'm just seeing patterns where there aren't any because I know of this change or not. So okay, if neither of you think that you've seen an increase, I'm happy to just keep an eye on it for the time being.
Yeah,
I think that's a good plan. Yeah.
The OVA ones, yeah, that's one I hit a lot even before we did the change. So it's something we need to sort it ideally, but yeah, I don't think that's something that's a cause of the change.
Yeah, I have seen flakes here and there, but I haven't been sort of cataloging them or even like trying to rank the and when I've drilled into them, they seem like there are other random flakes. Like, once in a while, Flatcar tries to publish in this window where they have like, I guess they query some file and it says, hey, there's a new version, but it's not actually published yet. So there's like a little window that we know about still where things can fail for Flatcar. And then other things look just like network related failures, like we've failed to pull down some manifest or something. And then there's some GitHub rate limiting. So overall, I agree. Things have been a little flakier than we'd like, of course. So if this rate limiting thing starts to crop up often, then let's figure it out, I guess.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. I just put this on here because we talked about it last week, and I wanted to see if we thought things were better. I did, and I feel silly that I missed this having used GitHub for so long, but I finally went in there and configured the specific notifications and new issues and stuff, and I think that has helped me. Now I get email
and it's helped.
Yeah, so that would have been a good idea. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe things have been a little slower, but what do you think, Marcus? Do you feel like we still need some strategy to deal with the backlog, or?
No, like you said, I set up my notifications, and I now feel like at least the new issues and the stale ones are kind of being kept on top of more. But one thing I've noticed is we have quite a lot where stale bot or whatever it is has been kind of like, pinging every now and again that this has had no activity, and then somebody comes in and like refreshes it or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
there's been a few, I think maybe 2 or 3 of those where I've been able to actually get some movement on those issues because I've then seen these notifications from them, which is quite nice as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think we're all right for the time being.
Yeah, I generally agree. I think things are reasonable, given that it's mostly just been you and me maintaining things. But you know, that should get a little better. I think James is going to have some availability. So
yeah, and I've seen Kieran on a few of the issues as well recently.
yeah, me too. Yeah, if you need his specific review on stuff, he seems to respond right away to mentioning it. Okay, well, that's all, I guess, if we think that's under control for now. Then the only other thing I had is I just noticed in Slack you were asking about a review on this, and I apologize because I basically had a hold tag on it, and I see now why, because it was one of the ones that came out of the gate with the approved tag on it. But when I see hold, I literally just skip over it, so I hadn't even looked at this. But now I have. And I had some questions if that's an appropriate use of our time here. So the goal, so we have been installing OpenVM tools more or less everywhere, right? Or on the QEMU builds. And this is trying to remove that because it's not really necessary except in VMware specific builds, I assume, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So
yeah,
then, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the thing that was causing it was because we were using a symlink, which is that there, and sharing the same files across different providers, like all the Linux ones, which wasn't clear. So when you go and add changes to like the VMware specific one, it's not clear that you're also impacting the QEMU one or vice versa, whichever it is.
Oh, okay. That explains my question, because I looked at this and I couldn't see that this was a symlink being removed. And so I wondered where all this and everything else is an addition of files that are very similar to files that are already okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I get it. So
the UI doesn't really help, does it?
You forked or you copied all these files.
Just literally copy and paste. Yeah.
So the QEMU, and then the QEMU files, I don't have a diff here, but I assume they just removed a couple commands to install the tool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think that the UI wouldn't actually show that very well, would it? Yeah,
I can't really tell. It looks like it's just a file being, which I guess a symlink is just a file, but somehow since it's a special one. All right, cool. Well, that actually answers all my questions. So then obviously the trade-off is a maintenance one, right? That we have to update in 2 places now. But I think people ought to be able to figure that out.
Yeah. But I think more long term we may want to refactor some of that stuff anyway, so that we can share some of it and not share other bits.
Right.
I didn't have enough of an insight into the 2 providers to know what was safe to kind of like share and what wasn't and stuff. So for now, it's just an entire copy with the VM stuff removed.
Okay. Well, that broadly speaking sounds good to me. I'll give it a specific review in a bit. Thanks for the clarification. Now I get it.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, it might be better to have a look at the pull the repo up like in your code editor or something and compare it that way.
Yeah, I think I will. Cool. That's all we had on the agenda. You guys have anything else on your mind?
No, I don't think so. Just trying to see if there's anything recently in Slack that worth talking about. I don't think so.
No, I mean, I've got a PR, and if you get time at some point, it's not a rush at the moment. It's just a bit of a fix around the NVIDIA stuff. So just as a bit of context around that, I started trying to bake some additional container images into the image I was building. And there was a bit of a conflict because the NVIDIA module, because we originally decided to put an S3 component in for the load additional components, and the NVIDIA module would consume that. Because the NVIDIA's run as a pre-step to everything else, it automatically loads in that load additional components, which obviously then loads everything else in that you try and load in as part of load additional components. So just because of the way it's just a race condition, that's all it is. So I've kind of made the decision to rip the requirement of load additional components, as you can see there, out and just put some S3 stuff straight into the NVIDIA role and just make that a self-contained thing. It felt like the sensible move to do, because the other option was to put a load of hacky if statements in everywhere, which it's just going to mess up the code base. So yeah, I thought doing it this way would be a more sensible approach. But I've tested this mine now. You know, it's just one of those things. If you're not testing everything, you don't hit everything, do you? That's the problem. And obviously, I just went, right, I'm going to start putting some additional container images in now. Why is this not working? Oh, God, I see it now. As soon as I read through it, I just went, oh, I already see what's happening here. So yeah, it's just one of those oversights when it was originally written, unfortunately. So
yeah, I did look at this already, Drew. I think it's
yeah, you did. I saw you commented on it.
I just want to make sure someone else looks at it too.
Of course. Yeah. But yeah, that's the only one I've got in at the moment. I'm gonna have a look at that security stuff I said about again at some point. I've just been really busy at work recently, not had time to do it, and then out of hours, family. So you know, it's
real life.
Yeah, that's it. I've just not had a lot of time to dig into it as much as I'd like anyway. So I'd love to help out with some of the issues at the moment, because I look and go 37. That's actually really good compared to some other projects I look at. You know, I've seen some with like 800 plus. I just feel sorry for the maintainers of those projects.
Oh yeah. Wow. I do. I'm doing a little bit of work here and there for SIG docs, and the Kubernetes website project is just a scary fire hose. Oh my God.
You squash 2 and 5 more come in.
It's like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I will try and help out as and where I can. I mean, to be honest, the one problem I've got at the moment is I don't use the conventional clouds because we're building our own. So I don't have access to that in the same way as I would have done back in the past. So I'll try and help out where I can.
But I take it that means that you use the OVAs or QE.
We're using OpenStack. We're purely OpenStack. So yeah.
Well, that kind of helps, because myself and Matt, we're both cloud-based. Generally speaking.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, that's why I put that OpenStack role in, the ability to build directly in OpenStack, because we were kind of sat there going, I don't want to build everything locally and then upload it. It just wouldn't it be easier to just build it up there? There's a Packer thing for it already. Let's use that. Yeah. So yeah, in those areas where I can help, I will certainly try and contribute.
Awesome.
I don't just want to throw the stuff in that I want. You know, that's. Yeah, cool. That's all I've got anyway from my side. So yeah.
Thanks, Drew. Anything else you want to talk about? Should we call it good?
Oh, just quickly, while I remember, I won't be here during the next office hours. I'll be on vacation. So.
Cool. Have a good vacation.
Yes, do.
All right. Well, I will.
A few weeks ago, and I already need another.
Yeah. You need a follow-up vacation. Almost.
Yeah. I do. Cool. Right.
All right. Well, I will upload this recording and put a link in it here, and
cool.
We can start that precedent.
Brilliant. Excellent.
All right.
Thanks very much, everyone.
See you in a couple weeks. Except for you, Marcus. Have a great vacation.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.